I am hosting you, right, Travis?
Let me double check, but I think you're all good.
All right.
Let's see. Hosting you. There are currently no channels hosting you. That's what it says. But I could refresh my dashboard and check real quick. Not that it matters terribly much. Well, it actually kind of does. You had a pretty big viewership going on your game. Holy hell, what a game though.
Yeah, that was quite intense.
Yeah, it doesn't say you're hosting me. You can try again if you want, but that's fine. Also, we have a smiley face made of honor and dishonor tokens. Well done to shoot on that. Very artsy fartsy. Exactly what I expect from the Crane Magistrate. So, are you good to start? I'll just tell my player, or I'll tell the players to get going, if you want. And since we both had like the same commentary style, I figured we just do this kind of free form. We'll both have lots to say, I'm sure. You there?
Sorry, yeah, I muted myself.
Oh, because you're eating, of course.
Yes, yeah.
I'll go ahead and tell the players to start. So we see what looks to be Croy, who is the Scorpion Magistrate, versus Chutereve, the Crane Magistrate. I do hope I am saying that name right. I am not French, nor have I actually heard his name said ever. Just going off of phonetics, which is always a dodgy operation when you're talking about French words. So we have Scorpion versus Crane here. It looks like, to me, the flops are decidedly average, lots of low-cost characters, so we should see a 3-character start from both players.
Yeah, potentially. Both the Doji Whisperer and Bayushi Liar are excellent first turn cards for sure.
Well, it looks like Chutereve is using one of the older decks. His cards are definitely some of the older ones from the mod. I do know that both Chutereve and Croy have used this mod a lot, so I expect a lot of fast play here, as well as a good amount of gameplay experience to back them up, so this should be an excellent game.
Yeah, I would definitely hope so. And faster play would be appreciated. Not that I think people should play faster, but I've had a busy weekend.
Yeah, and it looks like Kiseki here in the chat is correcting me and saying that it is Chutereve. At least if I'm reading that right. Awesome. You've got the host going now. That's awesome. Thank you for that, Matt.
Yep,
So we
no
see
problem.
both players end the Dynasty phase rather quickly. Chutereve went for a 4-character start here. We see he is running 7 Guardsmen in his deck, which is always an interesting include. And the bids at the start are going to be 1 to 5, so Chutereve handing that Scorpion player 4 honor at the beginning of the game. And that tells me that Croy is probably going for a Dishonor strategy, but I'm sure you can back that up a little more, being the Dishonor Scorpion player yourself.
Yeah, absolutely. That certainly seems to be what he's doing. He actually asked me for my deck list and a couple of pointers before the tournament. I don't know if he took any of those, but the bid 1 on turn 1 is certainly one of the things that goes there. Man, and the plays are coming
super
fast.
Oh man, Way the Crane immediately played. So for those of you who don't know the card pool as well, Way the Crane allows a Crane character to honor, or the Crane to honor a Crane character, who is going to honor the savvy politician and bounce that honor to another character, effectively honoring 2 characters. But we see the Scorpion player play Forged Edict, which allows him to cancel the effects of an event by dishonoring a courtier, which in this case is the Bayushi Liar. But luckily for Chutereve, he seems to have had another Way of the Crane to fulfill that exact same play, and because the Bayushi Liar is already dishonored, a second Forged Edict will not stop that. Whew,
Yeah.
fast things.
Yeah, no, this is
way
definitely
faster of a game. I feel like both these players, props to them for delaying their game a little bit, because we had a game going before this that went longer than expected. So I imagine they're both ready to just go. They've had like half an hour extra to psych themselves up.
Oh
So,
man!
what
All
do
right,
you think
now it's
is going on here with the challenges for this turn?
I mean, Shootery's got to be looking at that Earth Ring. It's got to be pretty juicy with Croy only having 4 cards in his hand.
Yeah, Fire's lost a lot of value. Void is also very valuable here because
Yes,
Roy only has
absolutely.
1 character with Fate.
Absolutely.
Yeah, because he had that second Way of the Crane, the Fire Ring just lost a lot of value. But we
Oh,
do
wow.
see Pilgrimage. That is an interesting include in Scorpion. Normally you see the Shameful display in that slot.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Pilgrimage will prevent the ring effect as long as the Crane player doesn't break. The bad news with that is that Crane is swinging at him with 7 political, thanks to this Honor Doji Whisperer being 4.
Yeah,
Uh,
absolutely.
mm-hmm.
Bayushi Liar is enough to make Shivari have to play a card in order to break, though. So we'll see what happens. She's got plenty of cards to play.
Yeah, it's already a really interesting game. I'm really curious to see what other cards might surprise us. We've seen a Seppun Guardsman and a Pilgrimage. Both are very against the grain, at least what I think most players are considering for their decks. So
Oh,
we see the
absolutely.
Bayushi Liar on defense. The Crane Stronghold will not be terribly useful against Scorpion being very politically aligned themselves, but we'll see how much use that actually gets. But in the meantime, the Scorpion Stronghold also won't be terribly useful with the massive honor differential already. So we see a fan traded for a Court Mask, and that Court Mask will be able to bounce back to hand for free later this round, assuming it sticks on the board, because
Yep.
the dishonoring of the character is not a cost, it's all effect, so you return the card to your hand and dishonor the character, but if the character is already dishonored, it basically just returns to your hand. Another fan, man, these hands are like all fire, lots of fire and action.
Oh man, we see
Fans and
another. Oh nope, a
and
fiery
then
madness this
and then
time.
an Adness. Oh man.
Croy's going on pretty hard about trying to keep this Miyako in play, and I don't blame him. He would definitely be in a pretty poor board state compared to Chivalry if that didn't happen. So it looks like he was successfully able to defend the pilgrimage. So that's actually pretty good for Croy. It gives him some leeway here as to what he wants to do with this next attack as well.
Yeah, really interesting. Do both Doji Whispers have a fate? Or is the fate just underneath that honor token? Because I would have maybe
No,
considered putting the Fiery Madness on the Doji Whisperer that had a fate, so that it
I
is
would have
weaker next
too.
turn.
I agree. The honored one does not have a fate.
Yeah, so it's also really interesting that Chutereve decided to honor the one without a fate versus the one with a fate. Maybe that's to play around Assassinate and make it less valuable. But
It might
maybe.
also just be to gain an honor because he seems to like Croy does seem to be going for a dishonor strategy. So
That is true.
gaining any honor you can is very nice.
Yeah, just trickle it in sooner rather than later. So we see the Miyako attack coming in for 3 military here. Uh, just defended by the Seppun Guardsman, so Croy is currently winning 3-2.
Yep. Unfortunately, he did run into the Meditations of the Tau, so successfully defending that void doesn't seem as good anymore, especially since
Yeah.
it cost him a few cards as well.
Speaking on a
All right.
card perspective, though, we do see a Bonsai come out here, immediately voiced because the Crane has two
Two
honored characters, yes. And I was just curious whether or not he was going to be voicing the second part of the Bonsai or the entire effect. It looks like it's the first part, so Croy should be getting an honor back here if he's going back down to 3 skill. The honor is part of the second effect, not the first.
Yeah, absolutely. Seems like it might not be happening though. So he's just getting the Earth Ring, which is fine for Croy. It puts that card advantage kind of back in his favor because of the mask. It'll be roughly the same. Oh, and he pulls out a Miyamoto's Fury, which is a great card to pull. It also shows off Chivalry's Dragon Splash.
Yeah.
So definitely something to look out for.
While it's unfortunate he hit Meditations on the Tau because it made that defense on the Pilgrimage not really worthwhile at the end of the day, Chutereve spent way more cards than Croy did in that defense, I do believe. Having spent 2 Way of the Cranes, 2 Fans, to Croy's just Mask, which is going to return, and Fiery Madness. So even though we saw a 5-1 differential turn 1, the hand sizes are now back to normal thanks to that Earth Ring. Croy has effectively got 3 cards to Chutereve's 3 cards.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Chutereve,
you see the air.
Yeah. So going a little faster here, we see the air conflict come out because Chutereve knows exactly what this is. He knows how this goes. Croy is putting aside his hand because he just wants to look at the top 5 cards of his deck in his hand rather than just to search through the top 5. He's going to pick one to add, and the rest will go back and then shuffle his deck. He also gained a fate because he is a Seeker of Air, and this is the first Air province revealed this turn, gaining him a fate.
Yep. An Assassinate here would be pretty devastating. Killing off the Savvy Politician while it has a fate on it. Chivalry would gain an honor, but he wouldn't gain the 2 from the air ring, so...
and not only that... Yeah, there it is. I'm pretty sure that actually was the card he pulled. Another voice of honor.
Oh
Oh my
man.
god, the fire in these players' hands. So that voice of honor is equally huge because not only does he not lose the savvy politician, he maintains strength in this conflict, and will be able to gain 2 honor off of that air ring and
Yeah, absolutely.
keep the game going.
Looks like we might be seeing an Adaptive Shadows if I had to guess.
Yeah, I see 2 fate. What else costs 2 fate for Scorpion here? The only other thing I can think of is I can swim, but that's not a viable play here.
Correct, yeah.
So,
I mean, an Adaptive Shadows plus Court Mask would effectively give him this
3.
conflict back.
Yeah, it would be 3 if he sees the play to bounce back the Court Mask and replay it.
Yeah.
Also, Shoshiro Miyako will
Miyako.
trigger.
It's very powerful here. Chivalry only has 2 cards. The Dishonor looks much more tasty.
Yep. Slow bleeds. I mean, like, it looks more tasty, but at the end of the day, that 1 honor could lose you the game. Everything Scorpion does just slowly bleeds you. Like, you're like 1 honor here, 1 honor here, then you're at 2 honor, and you're like, crap. How do I actually win this game? Yep. There's the Court Mask. He sees it.
Yep.
Replays it. Looks like Chutereve has nothing else to play here. Seems like he's just passing. So, wow, dude, what a turn 1. Looks like the board is going to almost completely reset.
That is an intense turn 1.
Yep. I do give the edge here to Chutereve, still having 2 cards as well as maintaining some presence on board. But Croy does actually also has 3 cards, but we know 2 of them cost fate.
He'll actually also go up to 4 with the Bayushi Lyre, and he can potentially turn on his Stronghold. He's already down to 8. He'll go down to 7 when the Lyre leaves play.
That's true.
So he might actually see some use out of his Stronghold, despite being having that huge differential on turn 1.
Yeah, and again, we see a 5-1 bid, and somehow the Scorpion player ends up at the end of this turn with more cards. This is certainly something you don't see every day.
Yeah, no, it's an interesting thing, and it's basically it's part of the strategy. It's part of some of the lessons that I gave him, like prioritizing Earth and not actually necessarily going for the province every time. Gives you some leverage when you're doing your conflicts, so you don't have to spend as many cards.
Yep. And then, saving some fate going into the conflict phase, so you can make use of those repeatable, high-value conflict cards like Court Mask and the Adaptive Shadows will help you a lot in the long run.
So it does look like Croy is taking some of my technique, which it's nice to see someone else do, and it looks like it's paying off for him for the most part. I do agree with you that he's in a little bit of a bad position here, but it could be worse.
Yeah. The downside to Court Mask and Adept, as some people in the chat are pointing out, is that if you do put the mask on the Adept, you're going to end up losing 2 honor as she returns to your hand dishonored, unless you want to lose the mask.
Yes, absolutely. But that's not just a detriment. It is what's part of what getting him down to low enough to use his Stronghold again, which is definitely beneficial when you're trying to dishonor someone out.
Exactly. If he manages to get himself down to just below Chutereve and take an honor, that's another bleed he doesn't have to do later. The Scorpion are much less worried about hitting 0 than their opponent should be. And we see a blackmail artist come out for Croy here, which is a character that when he wins a political conflict, he may take an honor from his opponent. And we see Doji Challenger coming out for the Crane player on the off turn, where the Crane is second, so that's a little bit less efficient than you want. You really want her going first, but while attacking, she can force enemy characters to defend, which is a quite powerful effect for pulling in characters that don't want to be in the conflict type she's attacking at, as well as just having really good stats all around. So we see a Sinister Soshi with 1 fate, one of my favorite cards to put more fate on, because it's just a very impactful 1-cost character.
Yeah, it's very versatile. You can use it either to effectively increase your attack, or you can use it to effectively decrease your opponent's attack. Or increase your defense, I guess, if we're using that train of logic. But,
yeah, similar to a Crane Stronghold, you basically can't attack into a Sinister Soshi unless you have at least 2 attack, or some sort of pump, just because she will just nullify the attack entirely on her own.
So it looks like we have another bid 1 from Croy and a bid 3 from Chivalry. So he's feeling the pressure from the lack of cards he felt like he needed to draw, and that's that gets him down to 5. He's already down pretty low on the honor, so
This also makes it a little bit more difficult for Croy to trigger his stronghold. So I can see a reason. I can see an argument for bidding 2. 3 feels a little bit too high for me. I probably would have went 2, but as long as he doesn't hit 0, it should be okay. But again, the bleed. If this blackmail artist goes off, that's a big issue for Chutereve. But we do see Croy have a lot of a fairly weak board presence, I would say, overall compared to Chutereve due to not having any characters coming over turn to turn. So we see absolutely. A Watch Commander, big important card for the Scorpion Dishonor strategy coming onto this blackmail artist. And what that will do is, whenever the opponent plays a card in which, in a conflict in which the blackmail artist is participating, the opponent will have to lose an honor as an additional cost for that card. We see Chutereve use the Artisan Academy to reveal a route on top of his deck, and he can treat that card as if it's in his hand. So we know Chutereve has a route he can use with the Doji Challenger, basically whenever he wants.
So if he wants to use that route, though, he'll have to defend with the Doji Challenger here. I do like the water coming out from Croy. It will potentially, if Chutereve wants the Keeper Monk off of the water, he'll have to defend pretty heavily here. Alternatively, he'll also want to defend with his 2 guys with no fate, at least one of them.
Yeah, so we see Croy switching provinces here, realizing he doesn't want to attack into Meditational Talent. Attacks into Shameful Display, which is not better anyway.
Yeah, no, Shameful Displays.
Yeah.
Certainly a rough one here.
I would even maybe consider defending with the Savvy, because even though she is already honored, I believe she still gets to bounce a second honor to the Doji Challenger who is outside of the conflict. Because it's not whenever she becomes honored, it's whenever she is honored. As in
yes, but you can't be targeted with honor. Like, you can't try to honor her while she's already honorable, because that would be a null board state change.
Yeah, I haven't really brushed up on my Shameful Display rulings lately. I know there's a big text on exactly how Shameful Display works with honor and dishonor effects. So maybe you just throw in the Whisperer here. She is 5 political on defense here, and that's very powerful, and she'll go up to 6 and knock Croy down to just 2 with that Shameful Display. So I think we're going to see a Keeper Monk come out here. I don't know, outside of a second Assassinate, I don't know if Croy has a way to swing this conflict back into his favor.
Yeah, no, it'll be a rough one for him to win this conflict. If he does have the Assassinate, though, and Chutereve doesn't have the 3rd Voice of Honor, that could be pretty devastating.
Yeah.
Just because, like, it'll leave him with just the Doji Challenger, and Croy doesn't have anything the Doji Challenger can pull in, but he does have the Adept of Shadows to pull off that unopposed challenge after the Challenger attacks. So,
yeah, that's a really good point. And we also haven't seen Chutereve splash yet, so we don't know exactly what he has done. We have seen Croy splash and Crab and that Watch Commander. Oh, no, we have seen Chutereve splash, because we're going to see it here again. Miyamoto's Fury means he's definitely a Dragon Splash, and that's going to just straight up bow the blackmail artist. I'm not sure I like that play, but I don't know why you wouldn't just Shameful Display and take the win on defense here.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. It definitely seems like an odd choice. I think Chutereve just forgot that Shameful Display was a thing, which is pretty rough. That would be a big change here.
Yeah, he was already winning. Like, if Croy assassinates, then you pull out the Miyamoto's Fury and lose the honor. Mm-hmm. But that honor loss seems completely frivolous, especially with the Fury. But I suppose this does mean that Croy is out of characters this turn. Also, Chutereve should bow his Doji Whisperer.
Yeah.
So I imagine we're going to see the Challenger's ability isn't really useful here. I mean, you could pull in the Soshi, but unless you're going to fall her in battle, it doesn't do much. Also, yeah, it seems like Croy is reminding Chutereve, or Chutereve is reminding Croy that he gains a fate when claiming the Water Ring on defense because he is a Keeper of Water. So we see the Fire Ring come out here, and Croy has no real way to defend this outside of the Sinister Soshi's action, which will not be enough with these really high stated characters. I'm unsure how that Whisperer is unbowed. I'm gonna type a chat, unless they catch it.
Well, no, that's the thing, is we're trying to be hands off. But I agree with you. I'm not sure.
It just really annoys me that this is probably going to break a pilgrimage because of that. misplay. Unless I'm just missing something, and I don't think I am. That Water Ring does not bow the Doji Whisperer, or does not ready the Doji Whisperer because she bows after ring effects.
Correct. Yeah. So they might just be not realizing that water doesn't do that. Um,
And that's really strange because I know both these players have played quite a few games.
yeah.
It could be the heat of the moment, but I know I'm like 100% sure Croy knows that that's not how the Water Ring works. And he also claimed it on defense. Like that's a mute point as well. Like
Yeah.
I mean, maybe someone can ping them in the Discord real quick and let them know. I'm sure that they both got Discord open, but yeah, that should not have been a broken pilgrimage.
So it looks like Croy's going for the Adept of Shadows to force the defense out of Chivalry. I personally would probably save it for the defense potentially.
I'm
But
not so sure, really. What are you afraid of losing here? I think just denying the ear ring is a pretty effective use of the
actually, the ear ring
Adept
is
of
a fair
Shadows.
point.
Yeah.
I forgot the ear ring hadn't been claimed yet. So
I'm not
I don't
sure
know why
you'll
he
win
didn't
this.
attack into the Meditation of Tau though. I
Yeah.
feel like Meditation of the Tau would have been a much better attack target, just because it's not going to do anything to your Adept of Shadows anyway.
Yeah, now he's
But
he's found himself attacking into a rally to the cause, and it's done nothing for him. It's actually hurt him because now his Adept of Shadows will be bowed by the Crane Stronghold, and that is very unfortunate. Perhaps maybe the fast play getting a little bit too fast, and then the air ring is going to go back into the unclaimed pool for Chutereve to,
yep.
or sorry,
Yeah.
shoot Reb to take back. So yeah, definitely looks like the game is going very much into Shoot Rep's favor as it goes on now. Those two misplays there definitely are not ideal.
Yeah, no, definitely. Also, the missing that the Whisperer should have been bowed is also pretty not ideal as well.
I meant that is one of them.
Oh, that was
The
one
missing
of
of the
the
Whisperer being bowed, and then
attacking rally.
attacking into rally rather than the face up meditations. But I guess you have seen two Miyamoto's Fury. Maybe you're playing around the third. But I guess like I don't know. It seems like at that point there's only one left, and you've already seen two. And the Adept of Shadows has 0 glory anyways, so if he has a third one there, it's going to get bowed regardless.
Yeah.
So it looks like we have another broken province now. Crane really just taking off with their aggressive strategy. And it does seem like with the Dragon Splash, Crane is going for a very tempo strategy. Usually you want Miyamoto's Fury in that sort of tempo deck so you can defend, or you don't have to defend as much, and you can rely on Miyamoto's Fury to defend for you while your characters go out for the attack. Did we see the Sinister Soshi use this turn? Because I feel like it could have prevented a break there. And I feel like...
Yeah, it was used on his attack.
Oh, was it? Okay. I must have missed that call, but we see Shoot Rev getting the Imperial Favor, setting it to political, which makes sense against Scorpion.
Looks like Croy is electing not to use the Adept of Shadows ability, which perplexes me slightly. His honor is high enough that it shouldn't matter.
He could have just missed it again, but yeah, I think you're right. You absolutely should bounce that card back to your hand. We see an honored savvy politician leaving play, so he should gain. Shoot Rev will gain an honor
if he can get it in the bowl.
Too many fast plays. I think the players just need to slow down, think about plays a little more. They're not on the clock here. It's only been like maybe 15 minutes, and they're already going into turn 3. Just take a second, slow down, analyze the game, and make sure that what you're playing or what you're doing is correct.
Yeah, they're kind of. I think they're overcompensating for the longer games we've had.
We'll show those guys 2-hour games. We'll get it done in 30 minutes. It's like that's what I feel like right now. It feels like I'm watching the replay of the game and it's on like 2x. Fast forward. So we see Croy elect to keep the Shoshiro Actress as a very powerful 3-cost character, and I don't remember exactly what Shoot Rev has in his discard pile, but I know next turn getting a Dochi Challenger with that Actress would be very good.
Yeah, absolutely. Shoot Rev's flip here is not especially powerful. Seeing a Sepun, the third Sepun guard is certainly not not nice, and then
Yeah.
a holding on top of that.
And you see, yeah, we see another holding, a Seppen Guard, and a Kakita Kaizen. I would not be surprised if we see 2 or 3 Fate put on Kaizen here just because of how
Yeah.
much Shoot Rev has. Uh, but it looks like he's only going for 2, so a more conservative play with Kaizen. That's probably fair, considering he broke 2 provinces last turn. The game was unlikely to go 3 more turns, so why
Yeah.
invest more than you need?
Yep. Um,
Scorpion side, though, we see Yogo Hiroe, who's a very powerful Scorpion character who can, similar to a challenger, but can do it on defense as well, can pull in any character, not even just your opponents. And then if you win the conflict, you may dishonor that character. So he's one of the linchpins to the Scorpion strategy.
I'm a little confused what's going on here with the. Oh, I think they're talking about when the when the Whisper broke the
Oh, yeah, that's
pilgrimage.
exactly what happened
So
here. This is exactly what they're talking about. So I imagine the players are going to reach their own ruling. They finally caught up to it. Maybe someone
yeah,
finally pinged them on Discord and was like, hey
Un-
guys, you should probably not cheat.
unfortunately, at this point, if they ask us, my ruling will be significant board state changes happened, so it's broken, unfortunately. But
My,
we'll
my,
see
my
what they do.
ruling, I think the correct FFG ruling at this point is it's too long ago that it happened. You just have to play the game as it is now. It's one thing if
Exactly.
they caught it like after the conflict or whatever, but now it's been several conflicts later. We're into the next turn. We've seen the new dynasty flip. It's too late. But if the players decide, because it's a casual tournament, if Shoot Rev agrees and lets Croy unbreak Pilgrimage, but keep everything else the same, that would probably be the ideal for Croy.
Yeah.
That's probably how I would
Uh,
ask my opponent, but leave it up to my opponent to decide.
yeah, absolutely. The unbroken pilgrimage changes a whole lot there. It changes Hiroe wouldn't be there. Whatever ring Shoot Rev got, which I don't remember what it was, wouldn't have been claimed. There's a lot of consequences of that pilgrimage fight that are a little bit out of grasp at this point. So it looks like they are going to do it. They are going to go with the unbroken, which I think does heavily weigh in Croy's favor. Um,
Yeah, I
I
think
don't know.
that helps Croy a bit, because up until that point, he was relatively even. Being down 1 province is fine if you're going for the Dishonor strategy. Being down 2 after that turn would have been really bad. That puts a lot of pressure on him to not lose a third.
Oh, that's right. I believe that that pilgrimage province was the Void Ring that got rid of the blackmail artist. So
Yeah, I'm just going to tell the players to play it as they see fit, because we are taking this hands-off approach of moderation for the first week at least.
yeah,
We received a lot of feedback, and I personally didn't know we were taking this hands-off approach, uh, or else I would have voiced that I think that's silly, and we should be trying to keep games as legal as possible, especially when players are trying to learn the game. Don't get any sort of inkling that they're misplaying. It's better to catch these sort of rules interactions early on than later. So
yeah,
it
it's
seems like
definitely
everything else is staying the same, and we're seeing Croy think over a character to buy here.
yeah. He's in a tough spot with the characters he flipped. His options are basically the actress and the illusionist. One of them with one fate, or Hiroe plus the illusionist with one fate on one and no fate on the other. So
I am actually kind of a fan of Hiroe and the actress, both with no fate. As much as that sucks, it does keep you alive this turn quite handily. You have a lot of politically leaning characters here against a very aggressive military crane flop. So you're almost certainly going
yeah,
to lose a military, but Hiroe, what he lets you do is he'll let you uh, force your opponent to overcommit to that military attack so that he can't double break you this turn. He's only breaking 1 province.
yeah, absolutely. I agree that Hiroe is absolutely the right choice. I do like his choice to do Hiroe plus maybe the illusionist. He might save the 2 for something else. But I do like the Hiroe more than Hiroe with a fate more than I do without a fate.
Yep.
Looks like he is saving the fate for potentially another conflict character or a court mask, which we know he has.
Yeah, Yojimbo would be really good here. But it really depends on what ends up happening here. I imagine that Shoot Rev being first player will open up with a military conflict. See, both players bid 1 here, so no more honor bleed from draws. Uh, I think if Croy still had that Adept of Shadows in his hand, he'd be looking pretty okay. But right
Yeah.
now, I'm just kind of hoping he has some sort of character he can bring into play. Otherwise, he's going to have a large time dealing with this. It looks like he's talking about his stronghold right now, about how like maybe he hasn't used it once this game, or maybe he should have used it turn one rather than passing first.
I
But
actually
we'll
think
see.
he passed second on turn 1 anyway, so I thought it was a bit odd that he didn't use it on turn 1.
No,
But
I'm like 100% sure he passed first and denied the fate.
okay. That's right, because Shoot Rev did the 4-person turn.
Yep.
But that still gave him a ton of leeway in order to do the.
Yeah, I think he could have got it in there without Shoot Rev passing first, without losing one of the characters he played.
Yeah,
So I
absolutely.
think he could have probably still snuck it in there. I like doing it when I'm playing Dishonor Scorpion, so that it's one less honor you have to bleed, right? I mean, your stronghold's not going to do much anyways after the first draw phase. You might as well have your stronghold read that your opponent starts the game with one less honor, but one more fate.
Yep, absolutely.
So we see a Doji Challenger military conflict here. He looks like he's saving Kaizen for a military defense or maybe a political defense.
Yeah,
and I guess
absolutely.
that's just to play around Hiroue a bit more here. So we see Pilgrimage being the target again. The once broken, now rebuilt, probably broken again here in a short second. Pilgrimage. So
So it looks like he's
five.
using Satoshi to do the successful defense without committing anything. Both players have a favorable ground, so both the harpoons feel a little weird.
Certainly more than a little weird here.
Yep, so it looks like Croy is opting to do the favorable grounds almost immediately.
That seems
Or not.
odd. So,
As I say.
yeah, it looks like
Looks like
Shootrev pulls in Hiroue. I think that's what's going on here. I don't think this was...
no, yeah, Croy, it seems like his initial gut reaction was to favorable grounds him home right away. But I think now he's thinking about using Hiroue and then going home.
Yeah.
We'll have to see.
I think I'd totally pull in Kaizen here. But they both have favorable grounds, like you said. So, and for those of you at home who do not know favorable grounds yet, it allows you to sacrifice that holding in order to move a character to a conflict or home from a conflict. And typically, players use it for the home from a conflict part rather than the to a conflict part, because it allows you to sort of outmaneuver your opponent. When you know you've already lost a conflict, you might as well move a character home so you can use them in another conflict and get value out of them, where otherwise they wouldn't get any by just bowing and staying there. So it's interesting here. I don't know exactly if Croy defended with Hiroue naturally or if he was pulled in, but it looks like we do see Kaizen pulled in. That's definitely happening. So I imagine he declared no defenders and the challenger pulled in Hiroue.
Yeah, I would imagine so as well.
Yeah. So we see 8-0 here. This province is totally dead.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah. Yeah, I just imagine that we're going to see the favorable ground trade here, where nothing ends up happening and the Doji Challengers left there still breaking the province.
There is actually another play that I didn't think about that's interesting with the actress is charge. So if Croy has charge, that could be interesting there, although not as much anymore. That admit defeat actually was telegraphed, so maybe a little bit of a mistake not to use the favorable grounds right away.
I think he didn't have a choice there. He wanted to use... Oh, he either had to use the favorable grounds right away, or else Hiroue wouldn't get to pull in Kaizen, is what I meant to say. But I guess it's probably better to just use it right away. So we do see a Fiery Madness come out, and maybe we're going to see the Doji Challenger lose 2 as well from these...
Well, the Doji Challenger already lost 2 because of the Sinister Soshi.
Okay, I'm having a hard time seeing the gesture for that. But I guess that's just because of... that's why Chutereve had 3 skill early on. I thought it was because he was forgetting honored, but I'm guessing it was just Croy declared no defenders and then first action used the Soshi. Makes sense.
Yep, that's exactly what happened. Yep.
So it looks like we're preventing the break here, which is rather nice for Croy. And the political attack after this one from Chutereve is pretty weak. It's just going to be too political, it looks like. And we do see Croy still has Fate in his bowl, so maybe he has another Adept of Shadows, and that's why he was okay with giving up the other one.
Oh, wow. Chutereve using his favorable ground to get in there to break the province. Certainly not a bad option.
No, I definitely agree with this. What's that Second Guardsman going to do otherwise, right?
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah. Not much you could do here. it's actually a bad play to move Hiroe home unless you want to lose the honor. Maybe you do. Maybe a Scorpion losing the honor here is actually pretty good for you, so that you can maybe use your stronghold and
Yeah,
start bleeding
possibly.
more.
His hand is looking pretty sour though. Going down to 2 cards, assuming he doesn't have something here, or even if he does, he'll still go down to 2 cards. So it's
Yeah, missing that
not
Adept
looking
of
great.
Shadows was not great. I don't know. I feel
Absolutely.
like he really should have, because then you could send Hiroe home here. You'd be at 5 honor at that point because you would have lost the honor to bounce the Adept of Shadows back, and then you just need to, maybe play your Adept of Shadows again after the Earth Ring trigger, or before the Earth Ring trigger. Sorry, you lose a card that way, and then you do an
Mm-hmm.
attack to make Chutereve defend with his keeper. You probably still win it because it's a 2-2 versus a 1-1.
Yep.
And then you bounce the Adept of Shadows back, go down to 4 honor,
So he does have
and
something.
use the thing.
Looks like he has another Adept of
Okay,
Shadows, which
so maybe not. Still,
I still think there's no reason not to bounce the other one.
yeah,
But
because it pads your hand for this Earth Ring here. Like,
yep.
if you discard the other Adept of Shadows, that's fine. I think it was maybe he just forgot, or maybe he thought himself here. I don't see any benefit to trying to keep your honor high as Scorpion outside of Assassinate. We see the contingency plan snipe, so I was wondering about that. So that definitely tells that Croy is going for a Dishonor victory here.
Oh yeah, absolutely. If there was any doubt before, there definitely isn't now. So that Earth Ring did feel pretty bad, but he does get a pretty good shot at whatever ring he'd like, really.
Air is choice here, I think, if you're going to keep pushing for this Dishonor strat. It's got a fade on it, on top of just being like the best ring to keep shoot
Yeah,
rev in the game.
absolutely.
So I think that's
The only
probably what
other,
he's going
I
for.
could actually see a decent thing for water here because he does still have the favorable ground. He could do water,
You're right.
let the
Oh,
monk
that's
win it,
sick.
go home, and then go in for the unopposed air. But looks like he's opting for the air first, and see where he goes from there. He might even do void or fire with the favorable grounds play potentially. We'll have to see.
Yeah, it's a shame he already used Hiroe here. This is like the perfect opportunity to favorable grounds in Hiroe and use his action to dishonor somebody. Probably Kazan, as he's sticking around. That'll make him effectively a 0-0.
Yeah, absolutely. A dishonorable Kazan here would be very nice, but
I think he's already
it is
used
what
it. It seemed pretty clear that he did.
it looks like Shurev is currently debating on whether or not he wants to defend with the monk. It's a tough choice to make. He's already down to 5, so if he doesn't defend with a monk and just lets the Adept of Shadows go unopposed, it puts him down to 3. So it's pretty risky business.
So here's some interesting thing right now. So the cool thing here for Croy is if Shoot Rev doesn't defend and he holds back that monk for a second attack, Shoot Rev has to attack into Secret Cache. Otherwise, the other face down province is almost certainly Manicured Garden. And that will give Croy not just 1 but 2 fate to play the Adept of Shadows back in for the defense.
Yeah, absolutely. It looks like Shurev is doing the bonsai, and he's
Spending
paying the honor to do it. I mean, he was going to lose an honor if he didn't win it anyway, so it makes a certain amount of sense. But I feel like this is where Croy absolutely does the favorable grounds play. We actually know he's got a court mask in hand, so the Adept of Shadows going home with the favorable grounds, he could go in for an unopposed and break with the court mask and stop the stronghold from bowing him. But I think he missed it.
Yep, I think he absolutely did, considering he bowed the Adept of Shadows, yeah. If you spent the favorable grounds there, it's perfect. Shoot Rev gets the ring, but then you get to do the other attack, which I guess it has to be political, but like you said, he has a court mask, so he can play court mask before attacking and turn off the Crane Stronghold and get a unopposed fire that way.
Yep. And an unopposed fire does just as well here. You dishonor the Doji Challenger, which means you won't gain the honor from that. Oh, looks like they're going back and maybe doing the favorable grounds play. Seems like maybe they
noticed,
Croy.
yeah.
Yep, maybe.
Yeah, it seems like Shoot Rev actually pointed that out because I saw him hovering over the favorable grounds and said like, "Oh, go Croy, you could just use the favorable grounds." Yep, there it is. They're going back, and making a good viewership for everyone at home to make sure they know exactly what's going on. So we see the favorable grounds used, and Shoot Rev will take the Earth Ring still. The Air Ring still does not trigger it because it's on defense, but Croy will still have that Adept of Shadows for another attack.
He does need to put the court mask on before he attacks, though.
Yep.
Otherwise, he just gets bowed with the Crane Stronghold. Hopefully, he doesn't miss that part as well.
Yep. And that Court Mask is still in his hand. That is the last card. So hopefully he remembers to do it beforehand. Come on, Croy, you've practiced for this. Croy's my boy. They're both my boys. I'd be happy to see either player win this game. But certainly a lot more hype because it happens to be two mods duking it out. Oh, we see a political
Oh
rival.
wow!
Oh, this card is so
Oh
good.
man,
So this is the card we actually recently reviewed on the Card Game DB site, and it was pretty heavily praised. And this is one of the first times I've actually seen this card hit the board because the Crane had no fate to play it. So this is a covert conflict character with 3 political. You can use it on attack, and it's just a 3 political that can sneak past somebody. But you could also use it on defense, and you pay 3 for 6 political skill, which is absurd. It's
it looks like Croy's still going for it, and I
level.
agree. I think he has to. If he doesn't, then he just he gives Shoot a free unopposed challenge because he can't make one after this is over anyway. So
Well, I mean, it's
definitely some
Shoot's
interesting
challenge,
plays
right?
there.
Am I missing something? Shoot still has a
Yes, it
political,
is.
so
It
he's
is.
just gonna sneak past, do water, and bow the Adept of Shadows. Playing
That
the
is
Court Mask
true.
here does nothing.
That is actually true.
Yeah, I don't know why the Court Mask came out, unless Shoot passed his challenge and decided to keep the political rival for defense. That does make an amount of sense, but I don't know why you wouldn't just attack with water. That
Yep.
seems
No,
silly.
attacking with water definitely makes sense here.
Yeah, I think that was the play, but I think he's already passed his conflict at that point and then realized it.
Maybe he didn't realize the court mask was
Oh
there,
no,
and he was
no, that doesn't work.
and
Sorry.
he was spending. He was planning on not spending any fate. I don't know. Except he played that before Croy played the court mask, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, certainly, maybe some better plays to be done with that political rival. Either way, it's gonna do work here. It's
Oh,
gonna either
absolutely.
stop the unopposed conflict from Croy, or it's gonna just do that and also probably break a province because it's a 3 strength covert if you give it a fan or something. But as I said before, Shoot does kind of have to attack in the secret cache unless he wants to give Croy 2 fate, 1 for Seeker of Air and 1 for the Manicured Garden. That's certainly underneath that actress. So he's either giving Croy a card or 2 fate, and a card is probably better here. Certainly some deliberation going on here as well. So right now I do think Chutereve is still ahead on this board. Croy is only keeping Hero away until the next turn, and Chutereve still has a Kazan as well as that political rival sticking around, as well as probably going to be 2 or 3 provinces broken and more cards in hand. So it does seem like he's doing all right and not losing enough honor for Croy to really threaten the Dishonor victory.
Yeah, absolutely. That political rival definitely puts on some more pressure. If he didn't have a conflict character there, Croy was actually looking pretty good on that unopposed, either fire or void, whatever you want to do. Probably fire just to get the Doty Challenger, get Shoot down to 3. Certainly would feel pretty good for Croy. But
I think
alas.
Chutereve has already passed his conflict, and Croy seems to be deciding whether he wants to do fire or void here to get rid of that political rival. I really like void. That political rival
Yeah,
is
I
going to
do
be a pain
too.
in the butt next turn, but fire is also your win condition, so I guess he decides to just keep playing to his win condition, and hopefully he doesn't run out of gas here. I don't know what's going on.
I
It looks
think
like,
he
yeah,
just
they just pass, and then they both go home
yeah.
bowed. Chutereve gets the firing. Yeah, it's kind of moot. I wonder if he's going to dishonor and get that court mask mask. He is, and he's going to bring back the Adept of Shadows and lose 2 honor to do so. Maybe Chutereve didn't attack because it would have knocked Croy down another honor, and maybe he would have been able to use the stronghold. Hard to say. But Hiroue does get to stay around. And we have a Poison Kazan, who is just a 1-0 and not very threatening, and a political rival who is certainly very threatening on Chutereve's side. The Doji Challenger leaves play honored, so Chutereve will gain an honor. And we're going to go into the next turn. I think Croy is going to probably keep that actress now that there's a challenger in the bin.
Oh, I would have to assume so. The Doji Challenger is very, very powerful. Going in with like Hiroue plus the actress, and then pulling in the Challenger later is
Yeah.
very, very powerful.
The only card better than a Doji Challenger is a card that's a 1/3 for one conflict and then becomes a Doji Challenger for another. So that'll be a very strong play. I imagine Croy's definitely going for that, especially with a flop like that. We see some lower cost characters, so we can see a Sorcerer Actress backed up by a Rumor Monger and an Illusionist, or one of each, or one of either. Sorry. We do see another
Yeah,
favorable grounds flip for Croy. That gives him a lot of flexibility for conflicts this turn too.
yeah, it does. I personally would like to see the actress plus the rumor monger both with no fate to give him the Adept of Shadows flexibility.
Mm-hmm. I do agree with that. I think the Adept of Shadows is probably going to be better than the Illusionist here. You've seen two Way of the Cranes. You haven't seen any court games, unfortunately, but I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of honored status coming out from Crane. And if he did have court games, he probably would have played it in the previous turn, I'd imagine.
Yeah.
Although I guess like he would only play it on the political rival. Is she 1 or 2? No, she's 0. So maybe not. Maybe Chutereve does have a court games because there wasn't really a good opportunity to play it in the last turn. But we do see the Rumor Monger come out, and if there is a court games, you can kind of with the Rumor Monger bounce that to the political rival for no stats, or to Kazan if you don't want the honor to happen this turn.
Yeah, I mean, you've got the same thing with the Brash Samurai, actually. Balancing the Brash Samurai's honor to the political rival could be pretty big, actually. Changing a 2-set swing to a 0.
We do see
The
one
honor
fate put
still
on the
hurts.
Rumor Monger.
Yep. I think he's pushing Shoot Rev into passing here because if Shoot Rev knows that if he buys a dude, Croy passes, and then he'll be able to do the Adept of Shadows. I absolutely agree that Shoot Rev doesn't pass, but it was certainly something that could have happened.
Guest of Honor, a card we've seen do a lot of work in other games. Not going to do a lot of work here because we know Croy has a character and an attachment in hand. And
Yeah.
it's probably bidding 1, so it might stop one event from entering play during that conflict, but not going to do much otherwise. We do put a fate on it, though, so it's going to stick around, potentially. So yeah, Croy does pass first and get that fate, so the threat and the Adept of Shadows still. And we're going to go into bids, and 1-1 yet again.
Yep.
Shoot Rev's like, I'm on to you. No. We lose no more. So if you were Croy here in your first conflict, what do you think you do? Earth seems to be pretty good considering the hand sizes, but you don't gain a fate that way, and Void looks very tempting.
Void looks pretty tempting. Water looks pretty tempting. He's got options here. To be honest, I'm not sure what he would really benefit the most from, because Shoot Rev can put up a pretty good defense pretty much no matter what Croy does. Right, we see part of Shoot Rev's other Dragon Splash being covert, or Tattooed Wander, the ability to give another person covert. So 2 covert guys is pretty strong.
Yeah, that will allow him to basically win any conflict in which both those characters are playing. And probably even just spread them out. Use one covert on military and the other on political. That can be a real pain in the butt for Croy to deal with his current board. I kind of like the idea of declaring a military water, maybe with the Rumor Monger, because then the political rival can't defend. The Brash Samurai can, but you can prevent his honoring, and then you can bow the political rival with the water ring.
Yeah, essentially. Some people in the Discord are actually, or not the Twitch chat are actually pointing out that Croy had some leeway to bid 2 there, actually, because they're even on honor. Yeah. So if he gives exactly 1 away, he can use his stronghold to make that back up.
Yeah, I agree. I was thinking that earlier as well. As long as you bid exactly 1 more, if you're even, then you basically get that honor right back. It's not a big deal. So yeah, Croy maybe should have bid 2, because at worst, I guess like at worst, Chute also bid 2. So we see a political void come out. Croy decides he wants to get the board state back under his control. I can only imagine that Chute will defend with the Guest of Honor here. And then,
yeah, I don't know. It seems to me like Croy's probably going on the pull someone in with Hero away and then favorable groundsing him home. If just because Chute does have the political rival that's 7 strength on his own, it just seems likely that he would want to pull in like the Brash Samurai or something like that. And then if Shoot Rev does anything to change the math, he can just send Hero away home.
Yeah, and I do think you have to throw in the actress on your first conflict here, because then her ability is active basically for the rest of the turn with maximum benefit. Kaizen is only a 0 political here, so I don't see what
Yeah.
adding him to the conflict gets you. So I can only imagine Kroi's just going to take his loss here with the actress, pull in that guest of honor, and then
Yeah.
move Hiroe home with favorable ground. That's
Yep.
just a lot of character advantage. It's 3 characters for one of yours bowed, at the cost of giving your opponent a ring. Granted, the ring is impactful, but it's fine in this case. It's more than worth it. Oh wow, Hiroe pulling in the brash samurai and not the guest of honor. So full on going to definitely make that play with the favorable ground, I imagine.
Well, it does make a certain amount of sense. The brash samurai,
Yeah, you're
it
right.
it can't honor itself right now, so actually not terrible for Croy to pull him in like that.
Wow, I completely forgot about that. You're right. So now I think Shootrev almost certainly has to attack water after this, and luckily it has a fate at least. But I think Croy will be able to hold that off outside of another bonsai. Because we know he's got 2 more skill in hand, and he can defend with 2.
Oh, it looks like Croy is
Oh,
going with like the full on pull
full.
everybody in.
Oh gosh.
Um, this is actually a little bit risky.
Yeah.
The Kaizen duel here would completely reset the board. Um, but the Doji Challenger is actually much better to pull back with the favorable grounds than Hiroe is, just because it actually has skills in military. So when he makes the military attack, once he's pulled everybody in,
Mm-hmm. I
so
think if he
I actually
Kaizen
like
duels
this
here,
play
you
a
just
lot.
defend with Hiroe, but that does send home everyone. Well, I guess Kaizen is only a 1, so I guess
Yeah,
you could defend with you could have the challenger accept the duel, and then Shootrev has to give up honor if he wants to save his characters from being bowed from this
exactly,
conflict. This
exactly.
is a
So
huge conflict. I don't think I've ever seen harpooning of this magnitude. This is some magnificent play from both players.
absolutely, this is. I was not expecting this. I can say that. Actually, Croy has another option because he does have the Court Mask and the Adept of Shadows. He could actually just win this conflict, get the Void, and dishonor the Brash Samurai, actually. Um,
Yeah, that would be actually kind of funny. What are the scores at right now? So we do see the Kaizen duel come out 1-1.
the
Kaizen goes
Kaizen goes
home.
home.
That does help a little, but I mean a 1-0. The challenger almost certainly pulls in the guest of honor here.
Yeah, if he doesn't go for the Adept of Shadows plus Court Mask play, I think the Guest of Honor is a better
Oh,
choice.
he's pulling back in Kaizen with the challenger. I don't know if I like that. Kaizen's just a 1-0. His duel's been used. He's effectively blank. You might as
Yeah.
well pull in the guest of honor, who is 4 political and has a relevant ability.
Actually, even if he pulls in the Guest of Honor, he could still do the Adept of Shadows and Court Mask to still. No, he would lose by 1 still. But with the Kaizen, he can at least he can pull
I
in the
guess he
Adept of
can
Shadows
win. Yeah,
play.
that's true. But if he
But
uses the
I
Adept
feel
of
like
Shadows now, then he's not using
oh,
he's not going to
there
be
you
able
go.
to defend the water conflict that comes afterwards, and that kind of
Yep.
undoes a lot of this. So yeah,
Yeah, so he's changing his mind. He's probably going to use the favorable grounds to send the challenger home now.
yep. Yeah, I think the challenge is probably more valuable than Hiroe because you've got the flexibility to threaten both conflicts now with the Rumor Monger and the challenger. Because they both have their abilities used, right? So I guess no matter which one you pick, it's kind of just depends on what you want to do.
Yep, it's just stats at this point.
Mm-hmm. The challenge is just more flexible stats, but I mean, if you're going to push for a province break, Hiroe is technically better.
Well, he's already doing the political, so he can't threaten a
Oh, you're
province
right. You're right. This
anymore.
is the political, so then the challenger is the pick to send back, and then you have 5 military for another conflict. Or heck, I think if Shootrev sends an attack at you after this, oh, he sends back Hiroe. I don't like that at all. Yeah, like we just said, I think the challenger was the better target here. Oh, he fixes it. It's like he's listening to us. Croy, you cheater! Don't listen to the stream.
No, Rega, there isn't. We're not saying that Croy is sniping, but he might be listening to us because every time we tell him to do a different play, he makes it. So,
It seems like he
not
catches it.
yeah. I think it's more than likely I have faith in him that it's just a coincidence, but it is pretty consistent.
Yeah. I'm not sure what the delay is on the stream right now. I imagine it's like 10 to 15 seconds. This seems to be the average.
Yeah,
Uh,
no, there's a minimum delay based on just travel over the internet, and that's probably what it is, and it's usually only a few seconds.
yeah. But I feel like I want to have faith in Croy that he's not doing that. And besides, he sent back Hiroe. I think like some evidence in Croy's favor here is that he did send back Hiroe first after we were already talking about sending back the Challenger for a good minute and a half or so before
Yeah,
that, and then he decided to catch his play. So it's not like that. It seems like very coincidental. So we see Chutereve go for a water on military. One strength with Kazan doesn't seem like it's enough.
he does have more cards though. Though
Yeah.
Croy does have Adept of Shadows and Court Mask, and he knows that. He might just be trying to drain the Fate by making him play them though. Uh,
Yep.
it'll be interesting to see which province he chooses. Obviously, if he's worried about the Fate attacking the unflipped province is bad, but so it does look like he's choosing to not generate Fate to do the secret cache.
I do think that's the right play here against Seeker of Air.
I
You know that that last province manicured garden and 2 Fate is too big. It's too many Fate. It's 2 Fate.
Yeah,
More than
actually,
you want to give your
a
back.
lot of Scorpions seem to prefer um, the fields over the gardens, particularly in this style of deck. But I tend to think that Manicure Gardens is better just because Fate is much harder to generate, and you take advantage of every Fate you get in this deck. So
Yeah, I generally agree with you. I think manicured garden is better in most decks, just because with a garden, that extra Fate is an extra turn of a character. So Fate helps you build boards and build lasting boards, and that's a big deal. And that's especially a big deal for a control deck like this. It's not really looking to break provinces, but instead slowly bleed your opponent of honor until you win.
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So we see the
So
Doji Challenger come in on the defense, so it's 1 to 3 here. Oh, 1 to 2? No, it
no,
should be
it's
3.
1 to 3. Yeah.
Yeah.
And
Yeah,
Corey was just
they were doing stuff.
misadding somewhere. I'm not sure.
Maybe he thought the favor was military.
Man, they did. They definitely just started to slow down though, which is good.
Yeah, like I said. Oh, no. I would have maybe said to see if he spends the honor first, but I guess Croy just does not want to lose this water conflict at all.
Yeah, I mean the
Immediately
water would give
edicts.
him a monk, so
I guess the edict is a fine cost here because now Hiroe will be played Dishonored and get Croy in honor at the end of the turn.
yeah,
That's
exactly. It gives him the
fantastic.
ability to use the strongholds. So I don't disagree with the edict here. It's also a 1-for-1 card trade, which is in Croy's favor at this point. Um, he's got less cards, but he has an unopposed conflict still to make, and he can totally do Earth, which will be very impactful. Um,
Do you do Earth
so,
or Air here? Because
yeah, either would
I
be
think you do
fantastic.
Earth because you're taking an honor with the Stronghold after Fate Phase, right? So you essentially get an Air Ring with your Stronghold. We see
Yep.
Admit Defeat come out. That's not okay for Croy.
No, it
Very
is not.
unhappy with that. I'm
So
actually like,
he'll probably end up spending the 2 on his Adept of Shadows here. Yep.
yep, here it comes.
So he's not going to take a
Here she
province with
comes.
his unopposed attack, which he doesn't necessarily care about. Um, so Chutereve needs to have another card, and this is where Adept of Shadows really shines. Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a card that Croy didn't spend a card for, and Chutereve will need to spend a card, so it'll further the card advantage that the Adept of Shadows really pushes for.
Yeah, I do agree. That card was really underrated by me at first, just because it seemed like, yeah, it's an infinite value 2/2 for 2, but like that's not a great trade on Fate. But like just the flexibility of having that character go in and out, certainly one of the better complicated. Because after we see a route,
He cannot route.
yeah, you cannot route your own character. Shoot, Rev. I know what you're thinking. I know what you're thinking, but you cannot just. Kazan is 1. It's like you can't route the Adept of Shadows. I feel like he almost wanted to route his Kazin and send him home, but that doesn't work either. So, uh, yeah, it's almost a good attempt
Almost, almost.
because no bonsai was on. It's really curious that we didn't see the Tattooed Wanderer come out on this attack. Maybe I guess it doesn't
Oh,
really
yeah,
matter.
there it is. Actually, he's pushing for that water ring because
Yep.
he really wants that monk. So Croy still does have the mask, although he's getting pretty low on honor. So if he does choose, actually the mask isn't good
Yeah,
enough.
the
It's
mask
only
doesn't do
one.
anything here.
Yep. Never mind. Disregard that statement.
So unless Croy's last card, other than the mask, is I don't know what like a katana. It's a katana or a bonsai. I think those are like the only really
Yeah,
two.
either of those would do it. Um,
Assassinate.
Another fiery madness would do it. Assassinate would do it.
Mm-hmm.
So he's got options, but not very many.
Probably just doesn't have them in hand right now. Oh man, this is so bad for both players on 5 honor. I actually really like. It's a really interesting thing that I think that most games end up with both clans being lower honor than they started, but it's especially true with Scorpion. Although sometimes
Oh,
Scorpion dishonors you out and they still have 15 honor somehow.
it does happen. It's relatively rare, but it does happen for sure.
I do not know if this is true or not, but I did hear that Scorpion got most honorable at the L5R honored event, which just floors me.
Yeah, I think they did. That's what I heard as well. Um,
It's like 10 out of 10.
yeah,
Yeah,
pretty
so
great.
many people bidding 5, man. So many people bidding 5.
So it looks like
Well,
looks
looks
like
like he
Shurem
gets
does
it.
give the water, which is really big for him. It picks up the one of the characters. I imagine it'll be the Brash, yeah, and then he'll get a monk out of it as well. He could have done like the political rival or the guest of honor, but they would not have been able to stop the military attack that's coming up from Croy. Let's see. None of the rings left have any fate, so he can't bounce the Adept of Shadows for another conflict, which is one of my favorite things to do.
I
But
mean, he's got the young rumor monger. He's already attacked politically, so he's only got the military attack left anyway.
yeah, but Chutereve does have the Brash Samurai to defend with.
Yep.
And
Oh,
even though
and
he
the
could,
keeper initiate. I missed that.
yeah. So
Yeah, it seems
I
like.
still think
Oh, Croy
he's going to try to
could.
bounce.
Oh yeah, now he's gonna take the honor back with the stronghold too. Or at least he should almost right away. Remember the stronghold. I know you haven't used it all game, Croy, but remember it's there. There we
you
go. So yeah, Croy could force through a political win here. No, he's already done a political. Never
Yeah,
mind.
he-
Yeah,
he
he can't
has to
do
do
anything.
military.
Unless
I,
it seems like he doesn't have a military pump, so I think you just.
I still think he does the military, just because it either forces Chutereve to defend with both, or defend with just the Brash Samurai, and then Rumor Monger can bounce the honor to someone else. So I still think
Oh
he
yeah,
does
that's
it.
true. You're right. I mean, even if Shoot defends with both, the Brash Samurai can't honor at that point, so he can
Exactly.
win with the court mass. So yeah, he can still push through the conflict. You're right.
Yep.
So that's a fantastic play. That Rumor Monger's going to do work if he defends with just the Brash Samurai, but I think that's what you have to do, is defend with just the Brash Samurai. So that way you can still push through your own conflict. Oh, looks like he wants to go for
Looks
a
like
break.
he's doing the reverse. Yep.
Okay, that
He
makes
wants,
sense.
yeah. It's definitely one of the options. Like it's unlikely that the monk will stop the attack, but it'll stop it from being unopposed, which is sufficient most of the time.
Mm-hmm. And the province here is rally to the cause, which I'm imagining Shoot Rev elected to just not use.
Yep, here comes the outwit to make it unopposed, bringing Chutereve down to 2 honor.
That's rough. Yeah, that's a fantastic outwit. That was the card Croy was saving. And he couldn't use it with the Doji Challenger defense because Doji Challenger is not a courtier. But that's fantastic. That's everything Croy wants, and Shootrev has no answer for that because we've seen Dragon Splash, and we know he's Crane. He does not have a favorable ground, so there's no way for him to move that monk back in. He's got no fate, so no conflict characters, so it's just going to be 2 fate gone, or sorry, 2 honor gone from Shootrev, and he's gonna Croy's gonna lose a province for this. And Chutereve should almost certainly attack the secret cache here because it's already been used once this turn.
Yep. It does leave
But
It does leave Croy an interesting choice. So when Chutereve attacks alone with his Brash Samurai, who does he send the honor to?
yeah,
He could leave it on the guy so that Chutereve will have 3. The fire ring is problematic here as well. Or he
yeah,
could move it to someone that isn't going to leave play, but all of those characters have 2 glory. So it's a pretty rough situation still.
yep. So no matter what, Chutereve's going to have 2 characters honored here. He can prevent the break by bouncing the honor, so long as Chutereve doesn't have a third bonsai or otherwise. Or sorry, this is political. It doesn't have a fan or another political pump in that case, but it has to be exactly ornate fan, I think, at this point. So we see the honored sets come out. Croy bounces that over to the Kazan. Nope, to the guest of honor. Nope. His honor's flying everywhere. Where are the rumors going? They go to the political rival. So he's okay with giving Chutereve back an honor at the end of this turn. But yeah, that's a tough choice. And now the Fire Ring's going to get to honor someone else, and it's probably going to be that Keeper Monk.
Yeah, I can only imagine that Chutereve will honor someone that's leaving play just so he can get back up to 4. So he doesn't have to worry as much about the dishonor next turn.
That's a fair point as well. I'd be really tempted to actually re-honor Kazan so that I can perhaps play around another Heroe coming out. But it looks like the Fire Ring is just going straight to... Yep, exactly the character leaving play. So Chutereve's going to go back up to 4 honor to Croy's 5, and we're basically back where we started this turn.
Yeah.
It's hard to figure out where things are going to go, but Chutereve again has the much better board state with 3 characters staying in to Croy's 1.
Yeah, no, Croy's in some tough water here with basically just the fact that the board state is so not in his favor.
Yeah.
Chutereve has a savvy politician coming up and is going first as well. I think that might be it.
Yep.
It'll be interesting to see what Croy can do to keep it in, but
yeah, savvy politician going first means you can just attack fire and honor the politician and bounce it to someone else, and that's going to be pretty much the nail in the dishonor coffin because Croy's going to probably need 2 turns to get this off with how many characters Chutereve has on board.
Yeah, that 1 water conflict last turn was pretty rough.
Yeah, that 1 water conflict decided the entire turn. Without that 1 water conflict, Chutereve wouldn't have honored 2 characters with the Brash Samurai and the Fire Ring. He wouldn't have been able to force Croy to use Outwit and spend more resources to get that unopposed air, and then Chutereve would end this turn at 2 honor instead of 4, and that's all the difference that you need.
Oh wow, Chutereve gets another really good piece in the avoiding dishonor, being Kakita Asami.
Yeah, as if we need more nails. So I think Croy might just need to... I honestly don't know what you do. You're so far behind on provinces, but it feels like provinces are the way you need to go now. So you need to really drag out this game and start breaking provinces to win it now. Yeah, Crane is not the easiest faction to dishonor out as Scorpion, just because of things like Asami and Way of the Crane being additional honor effects.
Yeah, the double Way of the Crane turn 1 with Savvy Politician was pretty rough.
Yeah, not to mention not using your Stronghold turn 1 as well.
Yeah, so...
We just see Miyako come out. She's going to do work because we know that Croy has an Adept of Shadows in its hand. I imagine the Baeshi Liar will also get bought here as just a sheer value card.
Yeah, I would imagine so.
It doesn't look like... It looks like Chutereve's foregoing the Savvy Politician here and just going to go for a push to break that secret cache and then maybe have enough left over to poke at the Stronghold a little bit. It's almost certainly a trench position on that Stronghold, though.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, that certainly seems what he's trying to do. And I don't blame him. He seems to be in a pretty good spot. Even if he doesn't succeed in that plan, I don't see how Croy could punish him too much for it. So.
Yeah, so I think, I don't know, does Croy stick to his guns here or does he draw 5? Looks like he drew 2 here.
Yep, they both did the 2 bid because they're both even on honor.
Yeah, Chutereve's like, if I bid 2 to 1, I'm giving him an honor that he'll probably get anyway by bouncing back the Adept of Shadows, and then if Croy is like, if I bid 2 to 1, I can just get that honor back with my Stronghold. So both players kind of mind game themselves. Turns out 3 was actually the correct bid choice there.
Yeah. The mind games get really real when you're even honor with a Scorpion player. It's
Yep. But I'm really impressed that just like turn 1 alone, that 1 to 5 bid being swung back by the end of the conflict phase. It's just, it's why these decks can work, and why the 4 card differential in bids doesn't always mean that you break a lot of provinces and just trounce the game.
Yeah, absolutely.
So Chutereve has the first conflict here. What do you think he's thinking about doing? We see a lot of characters with no fate, so water looks decent.
Yeah, a military water absolutely looks pretty good. The Beiji Lyre has dash and military, so that's certainly an option. You don't get any monks from it though, so I mean, air seems pretty good here. Between air and Asami, you get Croy down to 2, you get yourself up to 6, which also feels pretty good for you. Looks like he might be doing the military water, if I had to guess.
I'd also be tempted to just do military air and take it off the table, even if Croy takes it on defense. Like,
Yeah,
it seems very clearly Croy's win condition, and just you spend your Kazin, who has 1 military, to turn that off. But still a lot of thought going into it. It seems like every turn, all of these rings are very impactful as the first conflict, where normally water isn't. But with all these dash characters flying around, it seems like water is becoming more important in this game than it usually is.
yeah, absolutely. Especially since Crane is the keeper of water, it makes water much more impactful than it would normally be.
So we see Kazin and the Keeper Initiate coming in, maybe perhaps to threaten a break with a +2 strength buff.
It looks like he's going for the Earth, which is also a very respectable thing. Get the card advantage a little bit more in your favor.
More importantly, deny the fate on it from Croy, because we know that he has a Court Mask as well as a Depth of Shadows in hand. It just denies him one of the 2 cards to play.
So he might be finally switching to the unrevealed province.
I don't think so. I think you're still going Secret Cache here.
Yeah.
It feels bad every time that Croy successfully defends it, but the Secret Cache is just too impactful. Or the Manicure Garden is too impactful to attack. It just gives Croy 2 fate, and it's too much. Because then he can play the Court Mask an additional time in addition to the Adept of Shadows, or play the Adept of Shadows twice. It's not good. No bueno. So Croy picked relatively quickly. So what cards are good here that are like immediately impactful? I imagine he wouldn't pick Assassinate, so it has to be like a Forged Edict or something that's generally good, I imagine.
Yeah, Forged Edict. It can't be calling in favors because Let Go is too good against that. Maybe another Outwit. There isn't a whole lot here that I would snap pick that quickly. A contingency plan, maybe, if he thinks he can get him down low enough.
I mean, yeah, if you get Chutereve down to if you get him down to 2 honor at the end of this turn, like if you dishonor a character and win an air ring or something, or you get an unopposed in with that, then you can continue to plan next turn to get him down to 1, your first player, and then you can just all in on an air ring and hopefully win. That is an out, but it's not an easy out to take. Especially if Asami triggers once this turn too, then it's not even really an out.
Yeah, absolutely. And Croy doesn't have a very good political showing, considering Chutereve has both the Guest of Honor and Asami, so it seems unlikely that Asami won't trigger.
Yeah, and I imagine if he pays 2 for the Adept of Shadows, which looks like he is here, he's strongly considering it, that Chutereve will choose to discard a card for Miyako's reaction rather than dishonor a character at this point. You've got 5 cards, and you've been holding on to a lot of them for a while, so I imagine there's at least one in there that's not up to snuff. Yeah, and the Pocket Let Go certainly helps a lot of decisions. So, do you think, since Croy defended here, do you think Kaizen's going to initiate his duel in an attempt to go home?
Very possibly. Um, Shoot Red would have to spend something in order to win the conflict still. Um, but all right, here we see the Watch Commander. That might be enough. Shoot Red might be scared enough of that to not let it go. I think that he should personally, but
I mean, it's a tough choice, right? You're on 4 honor. That's 1 honor you lose to drop that Watch Commander.
yeah, absolutely. He
It
could do the
does turn
Kaizen
off.
duel to send him home. Yeah, that's true.
It does turn off the. It does turn off the Adepth of Shadows this turn, though. You don't have to worry about that.
Yes, it does. Yep.
There's basically no way that's happening unless you decide to magically attack that rightmost province as Shoot Rev. Oh, Croy says that Shoot Rev will be right back. So we're gonna put some things on hold. So let's analyze the game here. I think we both agree that Shoot Rev seems to be in the driver's seat right now, being just one province breakdown from threatening the stronghold. What do you think Croy's outs are here? Do you switch to a province breaking strategy, or do you continue going for Dishonor, hoping to just Dishonor through the Asami that's sticking around for 3 turns? I'm curious how you
Yeah,
approach this.
it's a really tough decision here, especially with like he's seen some relatively low impact characters. So in order for him to switch at this point, he would need to see like a shoju on his next flip would be absolutely essential in order to even come close to thinking about breaking provinces. I think, or maybe a Yunako might be enough. Croy is in a pretty tough spot, I think, actually, just in general. Um, he can. I think his best shot, despite the Asami, is to just go for the Dishonor, but it's going to be really tough. Looks like Shoot Rev is back.
Yeah, the Asami is going to make the Dishonor just like really difficult. It's an extra honor pretty much every turn. You have to knock off them, and yeah, I do agree that like the province break's really tough. We've been through half of these players' dynasty decks. Neither player has seen a clan champion at this point. We have not seen Hotaru, and we have not seen Shoju. So Shoju coming out would really help give Croy the pushing power he needs to really just actually win some of these conflicts because he hasn't been able to win one in a while. So we do see the Kaizen duel come out, moving Kaizen home. That makes a lot of sense.
Yep.
And then looks like Croy is going to be defending this Earth conflict, which is good for him, but at the same time, it's not a great trade to trade your Rumor Monger for a Keeper Initiate. Yeah. And so, for those wondering exactly why Kaizen is a good character, this is why. He allows you to do fainting situations like this, where your opponent loses more valuable characters than you do on the attack. Or otherwise, you'll threaten a break if they don't defend. And that's a lot of the Crane strategy as well. Doji Challenger kind of has that same deal, right? If you defend a Doji Challenger with a character, they'll just pull in another character, and then they bound 2 of your characters for 1 of theirs. Whereas, if you don't defend a Doji Challenger, then, well, the Doji Challenger probably just breaks the province, and Crane's like, yeah, okay, I'll take that. So, tough choices all around.
Yeah, I would. If I were Croy here, I would probably think pretty heavily on a military air or water. Just because Shoot Rev does not have any real military skill on the board, and he's got a 3 strength Miyako currently. Croy does. So Shoot Rev would have to spend a significant amount of things to stop the military attack if he wanted to.
I feel like as bad as it feels, I feel like you have to go for the air here just to shut off. Because like if you don't do air and you leave it up there for another round, Shoot Rev could attack with air with Asami, and that will just completely shut you out of the game. There's no way you're dishonoring a Crane when he has 7 honor at that point.
Yeah, absolutely. So, the only reason I was thinking of maybe doing water is you bow the guest of honor, and then you go from there and hope that you can just stop the Asami. Also, if Asami's ability triggers before anything else, Croy can just steal the honor back via his stronghold. He hasn't used that yet this turn, so
that is actually a fair point to consider. Is that the stronghold here will just prevent Asami from taking back that honor.
So that's why
Whereas
I
the
kind
airing
of
here will just mean the Sami does the inverse. So yeah, I think you're right. Maybe water was the best play.
it is really counterintuitive, and it's hard to see where that would have shaken out in the long run. But it was very interesting.
It's also just a case of, but if Asami attacks political air now, like if the airing was still in there, Asami could attack political air.
Yeah,
Crane would still be on
exactly. Yeah,
5. It would be Crane would be 6-4. Next turn, you're both at 5-5. You're still not closer to your win condition. Here, at least,
exactly.
you
Yeah,
technically end the Crane on 4 honor, and you're technically closer to your win condition. So we do see the Void come out. Shoot doing the right choice, in my opinion, which is just keeping Croy's board small.
yeah, absolutely. It basically forces Croy into not being able to switch to province breaking even if he wanted to.
I would
Uh,
hold the Guest of Honor back here, maybe.
I would
Uh,
too.
just so that you
Uh,
can defend. Oh, I guess he's got the political favor. That's right. He doesn't need the Guest of Honor. It's 4.
oh yeah,
The
that's
3 on
true.
the Doji Whisper is enough to prevent a Bayushi Liar from winning a
That is true.
conflict. So yeah, Croy, not much to do. Um, yep. I don't know what singular card other than. Jeez, I don't know. There's like no singular card that will stop an Asami trigger here.
Nope.
Uh, I
Um,
would say
pretty
Cloud the Mind, but Croy does not have a Shugenja in play.
So the only interesting thing I can see Croy doing, unfortunately, we know that two of the cards in his hand. The one downside to Adeptus Shadows and Court Mask is you just know that they're there, so they're not a surprise. An interesting play Croy does have available to him, though, um, is I guess he'd have to defend. Actually, I was thinking if he's down to 4 honor at the end of this conflict and he attacks with the or with the liar, and then he assassinates the Doji Whisperer, that could be really interesting. But he won't have the honor to do it. Actually,
No, he will. He'll have
no,
exact mana, right? Oh no, because
he'll
Asami
have
takes one
three.
too.
Yep, Asami
Yeah,
takes one, and then he loses one front opposed.
yeah, that is unfortunate.
It would have been a
Well, no,
sweet.
no, 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 no. He can stronghold it back. He can stronghold it back.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, yeah. So he could do that actually. So he can go down to 1 honor, but he could get Chutereve down to 2 honor by doing an unopposed fire.
Yeah.
Um, if he has the assassinate.
Yeah, we see the immediate stronghold use as soon as that conflict is over to get back that honor. And both players just slowly getting drugged through the dirt as both their clans are just becoming the scum of the earth. Uh, yeah, so I think Croy's almost certainly going to attack politically here. You at least have a court mass to threaten through the favor, and you force Shootrev to have something. And
Yeah.
if you dishonor that Bayushi Liar at the end of the turn, you don't really care. Because then you might be able to trigger your stronghold next turn on 2 honor. So Croy could still win this. It's still there, even with Asami on the board. Shootrev is at less honor than he started this turn with.
Yeah, it's pretty rough. Looks like they're currently forgetting the favor, which is very unfortunate for Chutereve because it looks like he might be playing a card instead of passing here.
Maybe he just forgot to add it in, but I think it's there. If they both pass here, then that's not okay.
No, yeah, if they both pass and okay,
is.
looks like they see it. Yep.
Good guy, Croy. Good guy, Croy, helping his buddy out. Yeah. So that court mask is gonna push him over.
Unfortunately, Chutereve has the let go, so the court mask isn't quite enough.
This is such a grindy game. I had thought Lion would be like a really grindy one, but it seems like Fiery Madness instead. Even worse. It's still a 2-stat swing, but I guess it's less vulnerable. It's just gonna get let go here, right?
Yeah.
I guess he doesn't. You'd rather lose. Yeah, you'd rather lose a Fiery Madness than your court mask, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
So I guess that's the right play, but if Shitrev remembers he has let go, then that's just over, right?
Looks like he might not. He flipped that let go a really long time ago.
Yeah, he's
There's
gonna
a
see
lot
it
to
at the
keep
end of the
track of in
turn.
this game.
He's gonna see it at the end of the turn. I know it. Or maybe worse yet, if he sees it at the draw phase of next turn. At that point, even if I was as humble of a man as Croy, I might say, yeah, it's probably too late for that. But yeah, let's see if he remembers it. It seems like he doesn't right now. That let go would be the play. But even without the let go, he just needs like a fan. Oh, there we go. He caught it.
So
and it goes away.
Croy has exactly one card in his hand, and it has to be either a pump or, like I said, an assassinate would work. An assassinate would get Shootrev down to 1 honor.
Yeah, I guess next turn you can take it. But yeah, no assassinate either. Fire ring goes to shoot rev. Favor is a push, meaning it's gonna stay with shoot rev on political. Water ring gains a fate. All the rings go back. Everyone's there. Oh man.
This is an intense game.
Yeah. It's kind of sad that the let go was on the table there, but that is the ropes. Everything gets reset except for Asami at least.
Yeah, no.
That
This
is
is
decent for Croy at least as far as board state is concerned. But that
if
Asami
Croy
will
sees,
maybe help keep shoot rev afloat. Yeah, but go ahead.
yeah, if Croy sees the right flip here, it is possible for Scorpion to generate 3 honor loss in one conflict.
Is he keeping that rumor monger?
I can't imagine he is.
I think I'd dodge. I think I'd drop it too. Like, what are you super worried? No. As long as the savvy politicians in the provinces, I do think. Oh no, rumor monger doesn't stop a savvy actually.
No, it doesn't.
Yep, it doesn't stop the
All
savvy.
right, that is a very unfortunate flip for Croy. He does have the Adept of Shadow still to pad it a little bit, but
I think he can still get enough in here. Actually, I really like the Blackmail Artist here. That is a good card to see going first.
Shoot Rev flips like
Some
no political skill at all.
That
so actually, this is I think this is Croy's chance right here. I think he's actually got a real shot.
I think he definitely put a fade on this Blackmail Artist. It sucks for a sec.
Yeah.
Actually, wait, no. Shoot Rev can't assassinate. He's got no water.
Nope.
Put that fade on there, Croy. I agree with you, man. I think that's the play.
You've got, yeah, man.
But
I think so.
I think like that card. If you win 2 political with him, then that's 2 honor that you otherwise wouldn't gain. Or like you
so
lose.
if Croy has a contingency plan in his hand and can still win a political heir as his first conflict, I mean that's it.
Maybe he does have exactly that because we don't see the fate go on. Maybe he thinks he doesn't need it. Maybe he needs the fate for the conflict phase. 1 on the Soshi, no fate on her either.
I would not be surprised at all if we see the storehouse be discarded during the dynasty phase instead of during conflict, just to try and dig for that contingency plan if he doesn't already have it.
Yep, and I can only imagine that Croy's going to pass her way. Did Croy buy 2 characters in a row, or am I crazy?
Yeah, Croy bought two dudes, and he's passing. So
no, he bought 2 characters in a row.
They bought 3 characters, yeah.
Yeah, he still got the passing fate here. That was correct.
Yep.
But I think he definitely did 2 in a row. Because they both bought 3 characters. It's just that Croy... sorry. Nourishmo was used. That's what happened. Yeah, okay. That's what I was missing. I was like, what the hell? Okay. Yeah, this Doji Gift Giver... Potentially the real deal, but with Croy having that Adept of Shadows in hand, that paying of the fate to your opponents is not going to be fun. Yeah, I think, geez, this game is so close. I was ready to write Croy off last turn, but here we are, yet again. I guess they're talking about the draw phase, because the draw phase should be here now. I don't think either player has anything they can do before going right to it. And they're both going to bid 1. It says the formal song and dance. I like how Croy just likes flipping through his dial. Like, am I gonna bid 5? Am I? Yeah, I don't see... Like, last turn would have been a good time for Croy to bid 2. And he did.
He did.
This time, I think bidding 2 would definitely be bad.
Absolutely, yeah. But he did bid 2 last time. They both did.
Yeah. Actually, it's not that big a deal, because you do just take it back. Yeah, as long as Shoot Rev bids 1. But Shoot Rev bidding 2 here to Croy's 1. That is the mind game. It's literally a 1 or 2 mind game right now.
Yep. Because if Croy bids 2 and Shoot Rev bids 1, he can totally take it back with a stronghold. Or if Croy has the contingency plan already and Shoot Rev bids 1,
it's over. Oh gosh.
Yeah.
Oh.
So,
yeah.
the mind games are super real.
Yeah. If Croy bids 1 and Shoot Rev bids 2 and he has a contingency plan, then that's the game. It is a choice of 1 or 2. Shoot Rev on the face wants to bid 1, but the higher level thing here is that the Scorpion will bid 2 in that case. It seems like both players do decide to draw the cards, so no contingency plan here.
Yeah, without the contingency plan, it's a lot harder for Croy to get that 3rd honor loss. Not impossible, but...
And Croy could have definitely bid 2 there and been just fine, because he'd get the honor back. Actually, maybe not, actually. Maybe that is a long-term bad thing to do, because Asami exists, and
Yeah,
So long as his
absolutely.
stronghold is ready, it just counteracts Asami.
Yep, Asami does
Keeps him
exist.
down. Yeah, so maybe Crow is right. And by that maybe I do mean I think Crow is right here.
Man, I love it at the beginning of this game. It was going so fast. Like, this is going to be a 20-minute game. And here we are an hour later.
Dude, it was going so fast. Now it's slowed down immensely. After the pilgrimage break, they were probably like, we should probably stop. We have a problem. Croy is down 3 provinces though. Shoot is threatening that stronghold. So
Yeah, Croy, if Croy is going to make the air conflict, he has to be confident that he can eke out the one extra honor
defense.
loss on top of air and blackmail artist for sure.
Yeah. I mean, so here's the deal, right? It's almost certainly in transposition. Shirev has enough political to really go ham on that 6 strength province.
He
Assuming
absolutely
he has
has.
the cards. So I think just the blackmail artist here, but Shirev can defend with just the whisperer, or just the. Oh yeah, Shizuka Toshi. See, Croyle. I missed it. I would have missed it, and if that was a tournament game, that would have been it. So Croy
Yeah,
needs to
no,
play the
I
court
totally
mass
missed it
first.
too.
Croy
I
needs to
totally
play the
missed it too.
court mass first. Or else that gets bowed by Shizuka Toshi. It seems like both players are humble enough to just let it go and play their best to the best of their abilities here. So here comes the court mask. I can only imagine. Yep, there it is, still in hand. We haven't seen it for a few turns, but it's still there.
Yep.
And then air, we're going at the rally to the cause, I believe, because it does nothing. And yeah, this is the old rally to the cause from the leaked images we got. Oh boy. This brings back
Beta.
memories. This brings back memories of like not even a month ago.
Oh
We've
wow,
only
looks
actually
like
had the game for 2 weeks. Oh, okay. Whoa, this is
he's actually
interesting.
going pretty deep into this defense here.
Yeah, so it's
Uh,
6-4.
he does get the Asami trigger, but then Croy's just going to take it right back. So
Yeah.
I actually think this is a pretty good situation for Croy. He can use his stronghold to negate Asami, and then he can use
Sochi.
Sinister Sochi to swing the conflict in his favor. So
Yep. Yeah, I agree. The thing with the Sochi though is that does force Shoot Rep to give him a thing. Oh, Way of the Scorpion on Asami. We finally see a Way of the Scorpion, which is target a non-Scorpion character in the conflict, dishonor them. Asami was apparently being a ninja once or something. I don't know how Way of the Scorpion's art is meant to play into its theme, but whatever.
yeah, I don't.
Scorpion happened, and Asami is no longer there. Court Games comes out to re-honor Asami and bring her back into the light of normalness.
And that's the first court games or Way of the Scorpion or For Shame we've seen out of Croy the entire game. Considering there's 9 of those in the deck.
Oh my
Here
god,
comes the
the
rumor
rumor
monger.
monger. I don't know. I kind of like honoring the brash samurai, right? Well, maybe not.
Yeah,
Because
he's
he's
gonna
probably not
attack
going
with
to honor
Crash.
himself.
Yeah,
We take the honor back.
I only imagine.
I
that
don't
you're
like
gonna
honoring
send
the
Grandma.
guardsmen really. I think I'd honestly honor Nourishma instead. If you're
Yeah.
going for this dishonor win, you need to grind it out as long as possible.
Yep, I can agree with that. Yeah, I imagine we see a Grandma come out here.
Yep.
It doesn't go to the pile sheet, Rev. It goes to Croy.
Yeah. They're reading the card. Don't worry. I believe in them. We don't have to.
It's actually very relevant. It gives Croy the ability to pick up the mask and put an Adept of Shadows in and have 4 and still take 2 honor. So it is very relevant.
Yep. I mean, you probably pick up the mask after the. Oh, I guess yeah, you're right. I guess yeah. Now that character is bowed, you can still win this conflict with that 4. No, no. Shouldn't Sheet Ref have 5? Am I miscounting here? No, I am miscounting.
Yeah,
God,
two from
Math
her,
is hard.
1 from her.
Math is hard. Oh, we see a court game. Oh man,
that is.
that's some brutal dishonor flying around. So it's 3 now.
This puts if Croy, Croy's still missing that honor though. But if he can figure out a way to, if he can get Shoot Rev down to the 1 honor and somehow unhonor the Sepun
No, I think
Guardsman.
that's it, right? You bounce the. He did pay for it. He did pay the Doji gift giver, right? That's why the blackmail artist is bad. Croy should have 3 fate.
Yes. Yes, he should. He should,
So he
absolutely.
bounces back the Court Mask, he plays the Adept of Shadows, puts the Court Mask on the Adept of Shadows, wins this conflict, triggers air, triggers the blackmail artist, shoot rev is at 1, and
Yep.
then at the end of the turn the Doji gift giver leaves play, that's 0.
Yep. Except for the Sepun Guard also leaves
Oh,
play, which
right.
is why I agree with you that
You have to
Narishma
win a
would be
void
better
as
target.
well, or get another fire on there to dishonor the
Yep.
guardsman.
Oh, it looks like Croy just missed the Adept of Shadows play. That's
It's
actually
because of
really
the fate,
rough.
I think. I think honestly he should have 3 fate right now.
Well, even without the fate, just Adept of Shadows plus the Sinister Soshi is enough to win it. So
Yeah, we see him bounce back that Court Mask right away. The grind is real. Yeah.
man, that's a serious miss by Croy. Winning that conflict was pretty crucial
Yeah.
because
Fortunately,
Chutereve is going first next turn and has 3 characters going into the
I mean, if
stronghold.
someone wants to pop into the Discord, ping Croy, and say, "Hey, Croy, you should have 3 fate because Gift Giver gives you the fate," then that would be cool. Because I can't technically do anything as a viewer here, because the powers that be said I can't. I hope that changes for week 2. It seems like such a silly, contrived thing. So we are going to go with the stronghold here. I can only imagine, and this is going to be the last conflict of this turn for Croy to participate in, I think. Well, maybe you just let this go unopposed. But if it's a water conflict, then your rumor monger gets bowed. Oh, what am I thinking? Croy has an Adept of Shadows. The characters on board are not the only characters at play here.
Yep, it's one of the reasons Adept of Shadows is so ridiculous.
Yeah, it's a fantastic card.
Yeah, no, if Croy would have, I think if Croy would have played that correctly, I'm pretty sure he wins this game. So
Yeah.
it's a tough play to make. Like it's not that easy to see all the things you can do.
Yeah, and again, that 3 fate. It seems like they did get the fate back in there. But that 3 fate matters so much. Yeah, that water ring. Griffin brings up a good point that the water ring will bring back a keeper here. I think we've only seen 1 keeper, but it'll bring him back.
Yeah. Yep, it will bring back the 1 keeper.
Which is positively annoying for a Dishonor deck. So I think you just have to throw the Rumor Monger into this and use your Adept of Shadows once. It sucks, but man, that is life. But I mean, the Scorpion plan is still going.
I actually don't hate.
Yeah, maybe you don't defend this, right?
It's really weird to. So one of the really weird things about Scorpion is potentially not defending just for the unopposed loss of fate, which looks like Croy is doing. It also gives Shoot Rev some really hard decisions on whether or not to straighten someone or bow the Rumor Monger.
Yeah.
So
I was thinking something similar. Like, you straighten Asami, she's just 1 political, right?
yeah.
Versus the 2 on Croy's side. Croy can do a military now and really threaten a fire ring here.
Yeah, exactly. So I actually like the Void Ring a little bit better to get rid of the Asami,
Yeah.
or even the Narishma, just because of the crack next turn.
Yeah,
But
getting rid of the Asami is functionally the same as the fire ring, at least in the short term. Because I imagine if you're going to do the fire ring, you're going to dishonor a character who is leaving play.
yeah, Croy does still have the Sinister Soshi as well.
Yeah, he hasn't used it yet.
I'm a little surprised.
I
that he
imagine
hasn't
he's saving it for this political conflict that's about to happen.
Yeah, maybe.
From Shoot Rev. But this Rumor Monger can do a nice poking attack. I'm not opposed to Earth or Void, like you said. Earth is good for Shoot Rev, where Void isn't, so that might impact his decision. And it looks like it does. He does go for the Earth. I mean, I guess you just keep bouncing off of that rally to the cause until the end of days, because you're going hard on this Dishonor strategy. That rally to the cause is basically just free.
Yep, it's one of my favorites. I love either of the water provinces because they're like, all right, fine, I don't get it this turn, but every turn after this, go there.
Yep, go there till it breaks. Oh man, so we see the Brash Samurai come in for the defense. That's honestly just to get another honored character on board. Uh,
Yeah, I have to
so that
imagine
next
so.
turn he gains an honor off of it. Uh, and it does put him above. That is 3-2 or 4-2. My apologies. So the Adeptive Shadows barely will eke out a win for Croy here, but
I actually think Croy should just use the Sinister Sochi and save the Adept of Shadows if he can.
I do agree.
So now they're 2-2.
Yep, and there it is. There's the Sochi, 2-2. Sochi poisons. Fine Katana comes out. So now the Adeptive Shadows would be the differential breaker if he really wants this Earth Ring. I'm not sure he does, and it looks like he just decides to say, "Yep, that's fine." Bow it out. Maybe he's
I don't
even
know.
gonna save the fate.
I think I would have gone for the Earth Ring there.
I think
Just
he's
getting
worried
another
about
card.
political pumps. His stronghold is only 6.
Yeah, but Chuterev's only got 3. With 3 cards, he's already played an Ornate Fan. He's already played a lot of his honoring tools.
I mean, like one Ornate Fan and another Court Games. It's game. Uh, so I mean, I respect that he's respecting that the game
Yeah.
could end if he does play for the Greedy Earth Ring. I don't think that one card discard to draw would have mattered that much. So we do see that political challenge come in. This is the last challenge of this turn. Conflict of this turn. This isn't Game of Thrones. So as Shoot Rev, do you think you honor the Keeper Initiate and go for board presence next turn? You're going to be first player. You can just attack Croy's Stronghold right away. Hopefully break it.
Yeah, potentially. That is definitely a strong way to do it. Sure.
Yeah, I think that's the way you got to do it. I think as Croy, you just don't play the Adept of Shadows unless you have to here.
Yeah, I think you pass because even if you play the Adept of Shadows, unless you've got another card on top of it,
Oh my!
not winning the
Actually, he
conflict.
does have to play the Adept of Shadows. Because if he doesn't, Shoot Rev dishonors one of his characters that are leaving play, and he loses an honor for unopposed.
Oh yeah, he's right.
He has to play the Adept of Shadows. Right. I wonder if he sees that. That sucks because I really think Croy really wanted to end this turn with 3 Fate in his bowl and keep the game going. He wanted to have that 10 Fate next turn so that maybe he could buy more characters to defend his stronghold.
And imagine how different the situation would be if Croy hit that that air ring win. He'd be at 5. Chutereve would be at 1. It'd be a very different game.
Yeah. Like if that water ring didn't happen, the water ring that readied the Brash Samurai and got him honored, and then he won a fire ring as well. Chutereve would be at 1 honor right now.
Yep.
Yeah, and again, yeah, like you said earlier this turn, that air ring win, like if he had the extra Fate in his bowl, he could have done the Adept of Shadows, Court Mask, potentially won that conflict. We'll see right now if Shoot Red have anything for a political boost at all. That'll be right here. We'll see if he had it. If he didn't, then it looks like he doesn't, because it looks like he's just passing. Croy's just going for the full-on defense. It is 3-4. He's spending everything he has to prevent this fire ring. And so, do you bounce both back to Court Mask and the Adept of Shadows here? Or do you just bounce back
I don't
one?
think you can't afford to because of the Blackmail Artist leaving play.
Yep, that's also true. We see For Shame come out. Oh, gosh.
Oh, no.
I guess the Court Mask is what's staying around. I think you just dishonor the Adept of Shadows and accept that it's gone at the end of this turn. Yeah. No, don't bow it! Why wouldn't you dishonor it? I'm so confused.
Yeah, I don't know. He doesn't get either back by bowing it because it'll be.
He should have just dishonored it and bounced back the Court Mask later. Except that you're going to lose the Adept of Shadows. I guess the only reason you would do this is if you want to keep the Adept of Shadows and not the Court Mask, and you're okay with your opponent getting a fire ring. No, you can't even bounce back the Adept of Shadows. You're right. Assuming Shoot Rev dishonors one of your guys. Yeah, I think that one is. I think the other stuff ended up not being as much of a misplay, but I do think that one was probably a misplay. It's only really bad if Shoot Rev has another For Shame. And if he has another For Shame, he can still dishonor the Adept of Shadows. Oh man. Close game. Looks like Shoot Rev will take the fire ring. What does he decide to do with it here? I do really
He
like
just
I do really like throwing a Dishonor of one of Kroi's guys just to guarantee that he can't
yeah.
get back either
Because he's
that
going
Adeptive
first next
Shadows or
turn,
that
so
Court
instead of
Mask.
going for the province break, he can just go for an air instead.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Kroi next turn will have 2 Honor. But I guess you can Asami and Air Ring, and that'll win you the game. Yep, looks like we do see the Dishonor coming out. Throwing it on the Adeptive Shadows, because why not? Uh, so you could bounce back just the Court Mask at no cost, and you might as well do that now. Four rings to 0, and despite that, the Scorpion was still this close to like winning the game this turn. Oh, so like, what do you do as Croy here? Again, it looked like he had the chance for a short while there to bring it in and actually win this turn, but now that
Yeah, I
that
don't know.
hasn't happened, it's fallen through. What can you
Between
do?
uh between Asami and an air ring, I don't know what you can do. Unfortunately, I think this might be it.
Yeah, I guess it is worth noting that the Crane's political presence is not that strong. The Brash Samurai
It's
is
not.
3, Asami is 1, and the other two characters are both 1. So that's only a total of 5, or sorry, 6. Favors 7. So like maybe it's overcomable. If we see Shoju come out here for Croy, that could be all the difference. But then again, at the same token, I was about to say Shoot Rev hasn't seen Hotaru, but there she is, Wonder Girl on the turn you need her. That is certainly got to be it.
Yep. I think that
Shoju
I
has been
think that
missing
is
all
it.
game. We're at like 17 cards left for Croy for just over half. No copies of Shoju, and just over half for the Crane player before seeing first copy of his clan champion. Whew. Yeah. Hmm. The good news here is that if Croy does manage to pull out a win on the political defense going at his stronghold, uh, he can trigger the blackmail artist, and that'll put Shoot Rev on 1. Assuming that Croy's going to use his stronghold at some point this turn, which is
Yeah.
all but very likely.
Yeah. It's still really intense. If Corey can successfully defend here,
I feel like
I
he's
think
got
he
to
has
go
a shot.
for the blackmail artist and the liar, and then it looks like Shoot Rev used Narishma. That seems greedy to me, but yeah, you can go for the blackmail artist and the liar, and then you should be able to get a pass in.
The only problem there are so many problems, but like Shoorev can do a political attack and not send everybody, especially now that he has a Hataru. So it
Yeah, Yonako does help deal with Hotaru quite a bit.
yeah,
Knocks
but the thing is,
three off.
yeah, but if he defends with all three of his guys, then Shoorev can just do an unopposed military challenge too.
Well,
So
there are ways around that. If he can manage to squeeze out a defense with just 2 of his guys and trigger the blackmail artist on the defense,
yeah,
maybe it's there. I guess it seems very far fetched, but it's there.
it's I agree that it's there. Like I'm not saying it's impossible, but it's looking certainly fairly bleak.
Yeah, I mean maybe you hold back the blackmail artist and you defend with the Bayushi liar. No, you can't do that because then the blackmail artist gets bowed by the stronghold. Got to get that fate first so you can play your court mask on your blackmail artist. There are some outs, but Shirav has been playing this very well going against the hard Dishonor deck.
Can't imagine you buy anything but Hataru here.
Yeah, no, there's nothing else to buy. The real question here is whether you want to buy Hotaru and then presumably Croy buys the Liar, and then do you pass after Hotaru, or do you buy the Gift Giver to give yourself extra insurance for this turn? I would probably strongly consider Hotaru no fate, give her no fate, and let Croy have the passing fate.
Yeah, I would heavily consider that as well, especially like Croy does not going to have any characters at the end of this turn, even if he does manage to squeak it out. Unless he wins while squeaking it out, I don't know what he does against Hitaru, Narishma, Giver next turn.
Yeah, it's a tight game, but I think Shootrev just has it. Missing that air conflict with the Blackmail Artist last turn, that certainly did it. Yeah, Croy could have won that. It seemed to me like Shootrev didn't have anything to boost political. So if Croy won that, then I think that was actually game.
Yep.
So
I
close.
mean, oh, absolutely. It was a very close game. And Scorpion is not easy to play. It's definitely it's tough to see some of the plays you're capable of just because of how many different interactions there are between all the cards that like move and bounce. It can definitely be tough.
Yeah, and like I mean, the game in general is not easy to play, but if you're playing this specific form of Scorpion, this Dishonored style, you have to remember, and you have to like win by inches basically all over
Yeah.
to get it to fall together. Because against a competent player, they're going to catch on to what you're doing very quickly, and they're going to start prioritizing air themselves, and you have to prevent them from getting air, squeeze in a few airs yourself, and then use your Dishonor tricks to slowly bleed them out. But it was almost there, and we see the Scorpion Stronghold's real strength in this matchup, or in the Dishonor deck, is that, Scorpion don't exactly stay honorable themselves, and you can slowly drag your opponent down with you and maybe deliver the killing blow. Like, if Koi was first player this turn, I could see a situation where he takes a Fate from Shootrev, attacks first with the Blackmail, like all ins on the Blackmail Artist Air, and then uh, takes out that last 2 honor. Do we see a draw phase action used to take an honor using the Scorpion Stronghold? We see Shootrev draw that Noble Sacrifice on top of his deck. Doesn't really help him here. Probably won't help him this game much at all.
Yeah.
Actually, it could help him. If Croy Dishonor is one of his characters, then he can throw out the Brash Samurai to kill that character. But,
Yeah. Yeah, I think Shootrev just goes like all in on political air here and just takes it that way.
yeah, even if Croy pulls off a miraculous no break on the Stronghold, Shootrev will almost certainly get a double air and put him up to 6 honor and nail in the coffin. As was said, like if Croy was first player this turn, it was different. If Croy won the air ring last turn, it would be different. It's super close. Goes for Void instead. I guess just to get that fate. Really wants that fate for maybe an outwit.
I think he's probably actually just doing it as a bit of insurance because everybody on his side is leaving except for Narishma. So maybe a little bit of insurance. I'm not sure.
I feel like the air ring is a bigger insurance. Losing a
I
character is
agree.
not the end of the game. Losing the air ring could be here.
I agree. But
Yeah.
I think it's of relatively little consequence, to be perfectly honest. But,
Yeah, this is actually all in. If Croy has a way to defend this and then make a conflict afterwards with air, that will be game.
what's even better is he only really needs to not lose. He doesn't even necessarily have to win.
Yeah.
So even that's going to be a tall order, but we'll see what he can do.
So it looks like we have 13 political. I'm going to trust the math here. 3 from the Brash Samurai, 1 from Asami, 1 from the Keeper, 1 from Narishma, 6 from Hotaru, and 2 from Kazin plus the Favor. Hoo boy.
Let's see, that's 3, 4, 5, 6, 11, or 12. Yep,
We're
15.
a whopping 9 over what we need to break. So Yanako can bring it back down 3 by swapping Hotaru. That's probably the biggest swap that could happen. We see a Watch Commander first thing. Oh gosh. Is that enough? Is that it?
I mean, a Watch Commander could definitely be the stroke that keeps it in line.
See Asami triggered. No. Why did he spent an honor? Croy, you spent an honor.
There he goes. There he goes. He figured it out.
I was like, Croy, you just like giving up? You're just throwing the honor away? He needs to spend the fate for it still. He still needs to spend the fate for that court mask. Is that enough? It's not enough, is it? That's not enough. Well, with the swap, it is. Right? Because that brings him down to 12. The swap is just enough. Chutereve needs to play one card that gives him one political. And he can afford to play 2 cards here.
He's got the Steward of Law sitting on top of his deck as well, and that's enough right there, isn't it?
Yep. Yeah, you're right. It's right there on the table. Croy still needs to pay that fate for that court mask, but we'll keep an eye on it. Make sure he doesn't spend it for something else. I feel like I'll have to intercede if anything else happens here. This is it. So he spends the honor, he spends a fate. I have to imagine it's a route or an outwit. It is a route. We knew the route was there actually from earlier when he tried to use it with Kaizen. Hotaru is
Hotaru
bigger
can't
than
route anybody.
Yeah, she can.
Oh no, she is. She's a 6 now. Yeah, yep, you're right.
She can route everybody. She can route anyone she wants. She's a strong, independent woman that doesn't need any man.
That is it.
I think that's gotta be it. Unless he has Edict.
Edict's not enough either because he still loses 1 for it.
Yep. What can Croy do here? The route will fire, it seems. Or maybe it seems like Croy is strongly considering an Edict. But like I don't think he has anything after that Edict. He needs to have like an Edict and an Assassinate for the Brash Samurai. Oh, you can't play Assassinate. I'm dumb. Yep. That's I don't know. What do you even...
I mean, Edict plus route?
Or Edict plus outwit?
Oh, there's the I Can Swim.
Why are you playing I Can Swim? Not quite enough. Not enough fate, unfortunately. He's 2 fate short of that, because he's technically at 0 right now.
Yeah. He also didn't bid higher this turn.
Yep. I'm not sure I like I Can Swim in this version of the deck.
It has its places. Like for instance,
once you that's it.
Looks like that's it. I believe Chutereve got it. The I Can Swim in that deck though is very like the turn the mind game.
Sure that
turns.
was it. Yep. Oh man, what a game! Holy crap, man! Holy moly!
That was a game.
I imagine they were in chat and Croy was like, "Yeah, that's it." Crane wins. Chutereve proves himself mod superior of the Discord chat for now. What other mods are even in this tournament? I'm curious.
Not sure.
I don't think Ryu might be, but I don't think so. I could be wrong.
Man, that was intense.
It was a much better. It was like the game was everything I could have hoped for. Literally everything I could have hoped for. It was very, very back and forth. The matchup, it could have gone either way, and I think honestly, Croy, if he ends up watching the VOD of this stream, he's gonna see that the play with that air ring on in the blackmail artist the turn before, and I think honestly not having that fate immediately given to him really turned that fate off in his mind, and he just missed it, or turned that play off in his mind.
Yeah, absolutely. It might have. It's man, that was an intense game. That was really fun.
Yeah. So, any final thoughts on that game? Like, seems to show Crane as like one of the better decks against Scorpion. I think overall, they can go tempo with them, and if the Scorpion's playing Dishonor, they can really struggle.
Yeah, absolutely. If Crane sees the correct number of honoring tools, it definitely makes your life really hard for sure. I mean, other than that, it's just practice. There were some mistakes made by both players, so not to say that there were any big ones, but there were a couple. There was definitely some ones that Croy made that might have been what got Chutereve the game potentially. So this is a hard game, man. A lot of things to consider every turn.
Yeah, it looks like Ryu is in the tournament, but not any of the other mods. I think. I don't think Spork is, and I don't think Kitsuki is. I don't remember the actual name of that mod, but yeah. So that was an awesome game, and at least for now, Chutereve reaps the benefits of being the mod with bragging rights, at least for a while.
Yep, for at least a while.
For round one. He could lose the next 4 rounds, and Croy could win the next 4 rounds, and then money where the mouth is, kind of deal. So yeah,
Yeah.
thank you guys for watching. I don't think we have another game, at least right after this one. But there should be more. Keep an eye out. If you're not in the Discord, join the Discord. I'll leave a link to it in the chat. And if you are in the Discord, keep an eye out on the Discord League channel and the L5R sharing channels. We're having a lot of these streams go up over the next couple days as a lot of our scheduled matches come up. We had another one that overlapped with this one, unfortunately, so I don't think anyone managed to get a stream up of that. But there should be more.
Yeah, I know we've definitely got a lot of games still to go this week. So I plan to see maybe a couple more tonight. I don't know if we're streaming any of them, but I'm sure some of the people might be recording and streaming them themselves potentially. I think I'm a little pooped. I don't think I'll be casting anymore today.
You've done like the marathon games, right? You've done like you did the 3 hour game yesterday, right? And then you did a 2 hour game before this, and this was a 2 hour game.
Yep. I did yesterday. I did a 2 hour game followed by a 3 hour game, and then I did the 2 hour game before this one. And this one was only like an hour and a half. Actually, maybe it was closer to 2 hours. Yeah. Yep.
All right, so there's a link to join the Discord for the L5R. I guess it's technically the L5R Reddit Discord, but it's just kind of a general L5R Discord. Be sure to join that. Check out the rules channel, because a lot of people don't check out the rules channel when they first join. And then make sure you keep tuned. So thank you guys for watching. It was a blast to commentate this game. It was super tight, super tense. I was on the edge of my seat. And thank you, Matt Fry, for joining me here today, also known as Bayushi Shiro.
Thank you for hosting.
Yeah,
Certainly
it's
a lot of fun.
And until next time, guys, make sure you have some fun and play some L5R.
Yep, absolutely. See you guys later.